Hi guys, welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. And today, guys, today we are going to do a moderately on time June wrap-up. So it is not the beginning of June, but is also not the end of July. So I consider this a resounding success. So in June, as you know, the Olympics readathon over the Shelf Space Discord was going on, and I was the captain of Team Zeus. And guys, everyone had all of their money. I saw people mortgage their houses, emptying their life savings, putting all the bookies in Vegas and in New York and in all other gambling dens across the nation. People were putting all of their money on Team Zeus. That is how certain victory was for Team Zeus. But in a shocking turn of events, no one could have predicted, and no one is to this day, at this very moment, even certain was legal or actually occurred. Are we all living in some collective dream? Because somehow, Team Zeus did not come in first. In fact, according to the results that may or may not actually be confirmed, Team Zeus came in second. Now I know, you are shocked. You are shocked, and at this very moment, you are homeless and penniless because you bet all of your money on us, and somehow we let you down. But worry not. Worry not, ladies and gentlemen, friends and lovers. We are at this moment sending a completely neutral, unbiased third party to investigate the results of this readathon. It is not that we are contesting Poseidon's victory. We are in no way, please let it be known, we are in no way saying that there was foul play involved. However, we would be remiss in our duty as citizens of the United States, nay, citizens of the world, if we did not do our due diligence. We want to make sure that all readathon results are completely fair, unbiased, and verified. So I will report back to you as soon as that investigative team has conclusive results. But for now, I apologize on behalf of Zeus that we did not bring you the resounding victory that you come to expect from this channel. So during June, this is actually, what a bad month, because not only did that occur, it was also my month most bereft of 5-star reads. I read 4 books, which is pretty normal, and part of a fifth, and that equals to around 2,300 pages or so, but only one of these books was in fact 5 stars. And I'm definitely not losing my 5-star strumpitude. I just did not enjoy the reading that I did in this month as much as previous months. Not to say I didn't like them. I didn't read any book that I did not enjoy, but I only had 1 5-star book. So I had 1 3-star book, 1 3.5-star book, 1 4-star book, and then 1 5-star book. So without wasting any more time, let's get down to business. Let's get into the books that I read in June. So the first book is my 3-star book, and that is Boosh, Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. So this was the Shelf Space Book Club pick for June. My co-host on that live show was Leslie over at The Nerdy Narrative. If you missed that live show, you can check that out. We had some great discussion on this, this sci-fi thriller by Blake Crouch. And I think I suffered from overhype for this book. I had heard that this book had changed people's lives. Like, it was the best book they read last year or whenever they read it, and they were just like stunned. And so anytime anything happened, I was just like, oh, that's cool, but when's the life-changing stuff gonna happen? And it just kind of never did. I mean, it's fine. It was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It was a very quick read. I read it in 2 days. It is easy to read. I think Blake Crouch does a really good job with like using fragments of sentences to his advantage. I mean, because, you know, they tell you in school, like, do not write in fragments or I will strike the knuckles with a ruler. And, you know, like, once you know those rules, it's fine. You can break them and you can write in fragments for effect. And I think Blake Crouch does that to great effect. In fact, it seems like Blake Crouch, like, should be a screenwriter because it pictures, like, I've only read this one book, but it definitely seems like this was written for you know, a Netflix TV show or a movie or whatever. And I know his other book, Recursion, is coming. Whatever. I think they're going to make a movie of Dark Matter. Whatever. It is about a genius physicist who, instead of choosing, you know, Nobel laureate like goals, he settled down, married, had a kid, and then one day something happens, and there you go. And I can't really say anything else; it would be spoilers. But the science in it was magic, essentially. But it was very interesting. It was very suspenseful. It kept the pages turning. Some of the stuff you're like, what? Why? Like, why is that happening? And I did not enjoy the way it ended. I don't think there's anything wrong with the way it ended. It just was not for me, and so it was fine. I think I probably would have given this 4 stars if it had not been so hyped up before I actually ended up reading it. But it was, I know Leslie liked it more than I did, but it does ask a lot of good questions about, you know, the path not taken and all that kind of stuff. And so I will definitely read more Blake Crouch, especially considering how fast it reads. So if you're looking for like a really just page-turning sci-fi thriller that you can knock out in a day, if you weren't me, you can knock it out in a day. It takes me 2 days. I definitely recommend Dark Matter. It was just, I mean, it was just okay for me, really. Next, moving on to my 3.5 star book, we have Boosh, The Dragon's Path by Daniel Abraham, book 1 of the Dagger and Coin series. So, this is 3.5 stars, just like Shadow and Summer of the Long Press Quartet was 3.5 stars when I first reviewed it. And I have a review for this book. You can go check that out. It's non-spoiler. I have a feeling that I will raise this book up in its rating after I finish the series, because Shadow and Summer does the same thing, where it is a slow burn. I do like Shadow and Summer better than Dragon's Path. Not a lot happens, but there's some excellent character work. But after having read Long Press Quartet and seeing that Daniel Abraham is 100% an architect writer, to where he's putting things in the first book that are absolutely going to pay off in later books, rather than, you know, it feeling like he's writing sequels by the seat of his pants and inventing stuff out of whole cloth just because, like, oh, well, I guess I need to write a sequel. I have faith that Abraham is going to make this excellent. So, but for now, the book on its own, I do think that if I was not already an Abraham fan, I would not have liked this book. I would probably be even less generous than a 3.5 star if I was not already an Abraham fan and trusting what is coming down the pipe. So this book is cool for its portrayal of like fantasy banking. There's a lot of economic information, but not to the extent of K.J. Parker and the Folding Knife. It's definitely a much more palatable amount of information for that. And we follow basically 3 characters. Kithrin, who is kind of a ward of one of the major banks in the Free Cities, and then we have Getter, who is a minor nobleman who's, you know, chubby and likes to read, and everyone makes fun of him when they go on like a military campaign because he's not super athletic. And then we have Marcus, who is a former general who has turned caravan guard. And, you know, things are brewing. The world was once ruled by dragons, which is freaking awesome. And someone bleeds spiders. Like, literally, he bleeds and spiders come out, which is, oh my gosh, the freakiest thing ever when I read it. But it deals a lot with being... Daniel Abraham writes these really put-upon characters where they are underestimated and you know, kind of being thought of as different than they are. Like, society does not treat them with respect they probably deserve. He writes really great characters like that. Daniel Abraham's character work is top-notch in here, just like it is in Long Press Quartet. If you're going to read Daniel Abraham, I definitely think you should read Long Press Quartet first, but if you're looking for something more traditional fantasy, Dragon's Path will definitely scratch that itch and still give you some of that Abraham goodness as far as character work is concerned. But join the revolution of all the people who are reading Long Press Quartet and come talk to us about it, because it's so good. But I am super excited to this month be reading book 2 of Dagger and Coin, which is The King's Blood. Now, as far as my 4-star book, it was Boosh, Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. This is book 1 of the Bloodsworn saga. This is the first book in a brand new series that he's writing, and it is unlike The Faithful and the Fallen and Of Blood and Bone, both of which take place in the Banished Lands. It is less European and Celtic inspired and more Norse and kind of Scandinavian inspired. There's a bunch, it pulls a ton from like Norse mythology and Norse folklore and things like that, to where there's a ton of like buzzwords that are like Viking or Norse. In fact, if you were going to read Shadow of the Gods, you definitely need to watch the brothers Gwyn, John Gwyn's sons. They did a video explaining some of that terminology that is in Shadow of the Gods, which I guarantee you will make the reading experience more palatable if you watch it first. So I'll link that. I'll link it here and down there because it is like, watch it. It's a great video. I would have benefited from having that when I was reading it. I actually got behind in May because of school being ending, and this was the Shelf Space Book Club pick for May, and my co-host was Abby, and you can see the live show there, but I didn't finish it in May, so I finished it the first week in June, and I had to read 350 pages in a day because I was just so behind. But I read it, and I really enjoyed it. I did not enjoy it as much as Faithful and the Fallen, and I think that is just my inherent bias against like Norse/Viking like history mythology. I'm not a huge fan of Vikings. I'm just not. Like, I'm never going to be. I never have been. Like, I love God of War.
Boy.
And I think the most recent God of War game is an excellent game, technically. But I prefer it. Like, I wish I had the same mechanics in God of War 4.
Boy.
In the previous 3 God of Wars.
Boy.
Because the Greek mythology, I'm just more interested in than this Norse mythology. So while I love the new God of War game,
Boy.
I mean, I don't like the plot as much as I liked, you know, Kratos going to town and the Greek gods and stuff. Like, whew, got some issues. I think they just ran out of Greek gods for him to freaking murder. And so that's not John Gwyn's fault. That's no fault of the book. I thought the book was very, very good. It is about, we have 3 POVs, unlike the vast amount of POVs we have in Faithful and the Fallen. We have Orca, who is a mother that is she is on her own quest that is going to carve kind of a murder canyon across the country. And we've got Varg, who is kind of a former slave that joins this band of warriors. And then we have Elvar, who is kind of a princess that has also joined a different mercenary band. And it is about, like, the cities are built on, like, the bones and bodies of these dead warring, you know, gods, which is super cool. But it did start out pretty slow for me. And, the end hits its stride and it goes. But again, I'm just never gonna love Viking stuff more than I like, you know, the stuff of the Banished Lands, because the Banished Lands is my jam. But it was exceptional. I think book 2 is going to be even better, so I am super excited to read that second book. I envy the brothers Gwyn because, you know, they're his sons, so they've already read his draft. That's awesome. So I will definitely be reading the next one. And I think for a lot of people, this is their favorite of John Gwyn's books. And I think John Gwyn has definitely improved as a technical writer from Malice to Shadow of the Gods. It's just the story in Shadow of the Gods was less compelling to me personally than was Malice and The Faithful and the Fallen. And that's just basing it off book 1. Now, as always, before going into my final book, my favorite book of the month, I always talk about what I have been watching and what I have been playing. After watching so much anime, I've kind of like stayed away from it because I am trying to catch up in One Piece to where my brother is, caught up in the manga. My brother does not watch the anime, he only reads the manga, and I watch the anime. And yes, the anime is horrifically paced in parts. The pacing is so bad, and it takes so long to do anything in the anime. But the Japanese voice actors are so excellent. Luffy's voice actor in the Japanese subtitled anime, One Piece, is 100% makes it worth it. Like, he adds so much character to the character. That I can't imagine just reading the manga and not watching the anime. So it just takes me forever. And again, it'd been like a couple years since I had restarted watching One Piece, so I'm right smack dab in the middle of frickin' Whole Cake Island. Cracker is a stupid enemy. It's just stupid, and it just takes forever. Like, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. It's just so dumb. Let's move on and get to Jinbei Luffy-kun! And so I've been watching One Piece as far as the anime is concerned. I also rewatched the first 3 seasons of Veronica Mars, which I have loved and always loved. I love Veronica Mars, starring Kristen Bell. That's the first thing I saw Kristen Bell in. Veronica Mars is so freaking good, and her and Keith Mars are the best father-daughter couple on television in any media, hands down, period. which I know is something that people say as if it emphasizes, if it like makes what they said true. Whatever. Season 3 is not as garbage as I remember it being. It is not anything compared to the first 2 seasons. Logan is the worst. You people who watch Veronica Mars, why do y'all ship Veronica and Logan? Logan has never made a good decision in his entire life. He is physically incapable of making a good decision. He has no impulse control, like no control over any of his emotions, and he's just a douchebag. Like, ugh. I don't, Veronica, what are you doing? Like, what are you freaking doing? Just like stop. Like, just freaking stop. Ugh, I hate Logan. Just the. So I've not seen the movie and I've not seen season 4. If you've seen those, tell me if they're good. I do need to watch those. But that's what I'm watching. I also watched, for the first time, I watched The Greatest Showman, which I loved. And I had been putting off watching The Greatest Showman because I was sick of everybody telling me how great the freaking Greatest Showman was. I hate that because remember, I am Schrodinger's hipster. I did the same thing with Hamilton. When Hamilton first came out, oh my gosh, like everyone and their mom was like, yeah, have you heard Hamilton? Oh my goodness. And all the theater kids that I taught, like, and I was so sick of hearing it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to listen to Hamilton because I'm tired of hearing about it because that's the kind of person that I am. And so then I listened to Hamilton and I loved it because it's awesome. Of course it's awesome. That's why everybody's talking about it. But I didn't want to listen to it while the hype was, you know, at its peak. Same thing with The Greatest Showman. So I finally watched it and I really, really liked it because it was very meaningful to me because, you know, everyone wants to find their place. And P.T. Barnum in there is trying to find a place where, you know, he's trying to provide a place where people can be themselves and, you know, not be made fun of and the world, you know, doesn't throw rocks at you and stuff. But also Barnum himself just desires so much more. Like it's not enough that his family loves him. And it's not enough that his friends love him. He needs the respect and adulation of the general public, of the respectable parts of society. And, you know, and he chases that, and it almost costs him everything. And, I mean, that resonates with me because, you know, I think a lot of us do that to where we stop being content with what we have and we start chasing the approval of other people. I know that I can do that if I'm not careful. Like, I have the approval of the people close to me. Who cares about other people's approval? I mean, I think a lot of us approval chase, and, you know, so it spoke to me. Plus the music's great. Like, the music's good. This is good stuff. So, Greatest Showman, that's what I watched. As far as what I played, just finished Mass Effect 3. Man, I forgot how the epic set pieces in that freaking game. Oh my gosh, so good. Got to spend so much time with Erd, not Rex. Shepard. And, you know, Mordin had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong.
I'm not. Had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong.
Like, such good lines from Mordin. Oh, that's good stuff. So I just finished it. I went with a different ending than the previous time. Before I did Synthesis, this time I did Destroy, which I think is the canon ending. And my buddy, who also did Synthesis the last time we played it, went for Control because he is a horribly indoctrinated person, just like the Elusive Man. I saved the galaxy. He gave in to his lust for power. Ergo, I am ipso facto the better human being. So, with that out of the way, so the next thing I will be playing is Dark Souls 3. I've only played Bloodborne as far as From Software games are concerned. I'm excited to play Dark Souls 3 and see if I'm terrible at it. Those of you who have played both, is Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne the harder game? So with all that said, guys, my favorite book of the month, the 5-star read, the only 5-star read, gasp, is Boosh, Dark Age by Pierce Brown. This is book 5 of the Red Rising saga, and this concluded the Feb Rising read-along that we had on my channel since February. And guys, it has been an absolute blast reading it with all of you who have joined me. Even if you're not in the Discord, those of you who have read it along with us, thank you for making this just a super fun experience. If you've shown up at the live shows and commented, it has been an absolute blast and has really cemented my desire to always be doing some kind of read-along because it's just so freaking fun. It's so freaking fun. And if you haven't seen that, our next one starting in August is August of the Apt, where we will be reading the first 4 books in the Shadow of the Apt series. It's 10 books. That's too long for trying to keep everybody on the same page. please join us in that as well. But Dark Age is the last book that's out. Pierce Brown is too busy playing with his dog and showing us what his shed looks like to actually freaking write book 6. Write book 6, Pierce Brown! But it was excellent. Pierce Brown writes war and these space conflicts. Reminds me a ton of Mass Effect, like a darker Mass Effect. It is excellent. His writing of these space battles is so good, and his technical writing has gotten so much better since the first book in Red Rising. There were parts of this book that I loved. There were parts that dragged. It's a little long in places, but the stuff with the war and the betrayals and these relationships and all of the things that go wrong, just, I can't talk too much about it, but it was really, really excellent, and I really, really enjoyed it. I actually tore through it. For it being freaking almost 800 pages, I tore through it. We did have a live show with myself and Chase and Leanna and Alex Nieves. I'll link their channels and that live show here if you want to check that out. We had a blast talking about Dark Age. It was so good. Pierce Brown, I cannot wait for him to put out book 6. And it was definitely, I think Dark Age, it's a tie between Dark Age and Golden Sun on which of my favorite of the 5 books. I guess time will tell after I let them both sit with me which one I prefer to the other. But guys, that is it for me today. What was your favorite book that you read in the month of June? What was the worst book you read in the month of June? Did you have a great reading month, or was it a crap reading month? Have you been playing any games as well? I do want to take this time to say, if you are a fan of video games, and if you had fun watching myself and Michael Nip talk about video games, we actually have moved those video games discussion to a regular stream on a different YouTube channel called Press X to Revolution. So if you're interested in all in video games and want to hear us talk about video games, or want to watch my hot takes as I crap on the video games that you like, boom, go subscribe to Press X to Revolution. If you like video games, what are you playing currently? As always, guys, information about my Patreon and Discord is down in the description, and I'll see you next time, guys.